and welcome back everyone to the Uncle Gold podcast. My name is Borna, and today we have a special guest on. You might have seen him on
TikTok
talking about Croatia or his beautiful photos on Instagram. Ashley Ward, ladies and gentlemen, help him welcome to the podcast. Ashley, how are you today?
Hey man, I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. It was a long day, but I'm super happy that we finally got to speak to each other, man.
Yeah, same for me. You know, busy day, but yeah, same for me. I'm glad we're finally making this happen.
Yeah. Listen, I first discovered you on TikTok, actually, where you kind of got a bit famous there, talking about Croatia and showing like really cool clips. So I basically wanted to ask you like how this whole story started with you moving to Croatia, and why did you fall in love with it, you know?
Okay, sure, man. Yeah, so basically, I think it was around 7 or 8 years ago. I came here with on holiday with an ex-girlfriend, and you know, I was looking, had the travel bug back then. I was looking at new places to go and stuff like that. And Croatia was in this Lonely Planet guide, like top not new destinations, but becoming a hot destination to go to. So, you know, I checked it out and I started looking online. What could I do? I found all these sailing trips. I thought they looked awesome, but we didn't want to do that. Well, they didn't want to do that. And then we decided that we would come to Croatia and just go to some islands. So we decided to book for Korčula for like 5 days, and I stayed 5 days in Hvar. So I think I was here 10 days in total. And you know, I fell in love with it. I thought it was great. Couldn't believe how blue the sea was and how beautiful it was. And you know, everything seemed really great. I don't know, I felt comfortable as soon as I sort of came here. And then I left after them 10 days and was recommending, you have to go to Croatia to everyone. And, you know, back then I was working as an engineer. So photography for me back then was just a hobby. I think that holiday I did have my camera on me, and I still look back at some of my pictures and now, you know, and I'm like, shit, it's nice. Yeah, with my photography, it kind of just started to improve like very fast, and started like moving in a direction where people were saying, oh, you're getting good. But I didn't feel like that at the time. I didn't feel like it was going to sort of do anything. And yeah, then I decided, okay, maybe I'll try sell some of my prints, which I started selling these prints I was making. I think I sold a couple of my ones at Croatia. And then, yeah, I took a trip to Sri Lanka, which was like this life-changing trip for me, which kind of opened up my eyes to everything in terms of the direction my life was going, and, you know, my photography, everything like that. So when I was on that trip, I decided there and then I was going to quit my job when I got home as an engineer. And yeah, I quit my job as soon as I came back, and I started looking for jobs. And I had one friend here who was working here as a DJ, and he kind of said, oh, why don't you try looking for some jobs in Croatia? I said, oh yeah, that's a good point. Maybe I could hit up some of these boat companies I was looking at, you know. So I sent out some emails and didn't hear back from hardly any. And then Sail Week, one of the companies I actually seen when I was in Korčula, they replied to my email that they liked my photography, and yeah, we started exchanging these emails, and they sort of offered me an internship where I could come and shoot for them for a few weeks, and in exchange would get like a spot on the boat, which for me, I was like, okay, this is my foot in the door for starting the career, you know, in photography. And yeah, I came here, and you know, I worked for 7 weeks for them and really fell in love with it. Even though I loved it the first time when I came, I was even more blown away the second time, you know. And every day on the boat sailing, it was just magical, man. And
you spend more time, right?
Yeah, I spent more time. So I was here, I think, 8 weeks in total. And it just became a place where I was like, wow, this is the place, you know. Yeah, and I've been coming back ever since, you know. So I sort of left after that summer. I left and sort of went around Europe a little bit, and then I went to Turkey for like a month, and was out there working in this eco hostel. Still was unsure how my photography was then going to go again. You know, what am I going to find next? And hoping that I would get asked back to Croatia for the next summer, and luckily that did. You know, I went to Asia and started working some jobs there, and Sail Week offered me a position to come back as their official photographer.
Nice.
And you know, yeah, things just developed from there, man. It just snowballed, and here I am 5 years down the line and calling this place home now. So it's yeah, it's pretty nice.
Sounds awesome, man. There's a kind of a trend in Croatia that everyone's moving out, you know, so it's refreshing to hear a story where
only me moving in
yeah.
by the seams of it. That's you know, one of my friends used it the other day. He said, I was on the news like last week for at the dog shelter I'm sort of volunteering at, but they were talking about me, you know, like this English guy has come to Croatia. My friend said I'm like a gorilla in the zoo, you know. Everyone's like, oh, English guy, you know, like that's his reference to it. Yeah, to it. Like, oh, this English guy comes here like it's like some crazy foreign thing, you know, to do. But yeah, for me, it seems pretty normal to move to somewhere so beautiful as this.
Yeah, I actually think that it's a trend that it's that's growing. You remember that what they installed like a few years back, the digital nomad visa?
Yeah, this new visa. Yeah.
I think that more people started using that. Have you noticed more people like you moving in from different countries?
I've noticed there's like quite a few more expats around. That's definitely like the expat community seems to be growing. This digital nomad visa, I've heard mixed sort of reviews about it. I don't know how in depth we should go about that, but yeah, I'm definitely noticing more people are moving to Croatia. And why not, man? It's, you know, I think it's really, really good place to live and to work, especially if you're working online and stuff. Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm thinking as well. What are some of the main countries you notice that people are coming from to Croatia?
I've noticed there's a lot of Americans starting to come here. I have noticed that. Like the last few days in Split, this is irrelevant actually, but last few days in Split, we had the aircraft carrier here, American one. You know, it felt like summer, but just all Americans. There were so many Americans in the city. But going back to what we were saying, like I definitely noticed, yeah, a lot more American expats. You hear the accent around the city in the cafe bars and stuff like that. I've not met too many English, I wouldn't say. I've met a few, but not heaps of them. Some Aussies. I've met, you know, a few people from everywhere, but like you said, it's unless you're in these expat groups and sort of doing these meetups and stuff, you don't sort of tend to notice. You just hear the accents or whatever here and there. But
you know what? Before, but like 3 years back, I moved from Croatia to Ireland, and before that, I spent like 4 months on Hvar, working like a summer job in a small tourist agency, renting out, you know, bikes, scooters, cars, and things like that. Because I was too overworked with my job, and I met a guy who had this like small agency, and I basically told him like, look, I want to work, but I actually want to relax. And he's like, yeah, man, like this is like stress-free. Like he basically gave me the keys to the shop and wasn't even there. So I managed that for him, and had like a 4-month work holiday, you know, and it was really great. I loved it. And then I moved to Ireland, you know, rain all the time, clouds, no sun, you know, temperature doesn't go above 20.
So definitely a big switch to go to, you know.
Yeah, and I feel that you and me kind of switched, you know.
Yeah, we switched. I came here and took all the sun, and you went and took all the rain.
Yeah. How was the switch for you? Like, I kind of knew that it's gonna rain a lot, so I kind of prepared myself mentally, you know.
Yeah, for me, I came in the summer, and I was like, that was I previously, my longest trip away from home was when I went to Australia for like 4 months. So I was used to the heat. I was there in the summertime. But yeah, when you're living in it, it's a little bit different, you know, especially when you're sleeping on a boat and stuff like that. So it took me some time to adapt to the heat, I would say that. But then I stayed sort of chasing the sun for the last 4 years, you know. I was going between here and Asia. So I think I've kind of realized I'm a bit of a sun worshipper, and I have to be. So whenever I go back to the UK, I always find that super depressing with the weather and the clouds. And even when I go to Zagreb, actually, it's the same in Zagreb, you know, it's just cloud everywhere. So
Yeah,
But,
yeah, but still, there's more sun than in Ireland, at least for
yeah,
my taste,
exactly. I have actually never been to Ireland, which is unbelievable. When from Bristol across, it's only like 40 minutes on a plane, and I've never been. So yeah.
Definitely visit. It's nice. I moved here
Yeah.
to the southwest part in the Kerry region, and it's close to the ocean, so we do get a lot of rain. And there's actually a storm going on outside right now, you know. So yeah,
Same as here, man. Don't worry, it's raining here in Split at the moment. So yeah, it's not.
I think I would be disappointed if you said, "Oh, it's like 30 degrees, man." You know, I went for a
but
swim today.
It was on the weekend. I did take a swim actually on the weekend.
Nice.
Some may call me crazy, but yeah, I did take a swim.
I understand
it's
that.
cold, but it's good. Yeah,
It's good for you, right?
Yeah, exactly. The Wim Hof breathing.
I love that too. I did that for actually a long time, and then
excuse me, sorry.
Bless you. And then I kind of stopped at one point, but I'm thinking of doing it again. And we were taking like plunges in the cold lakes here, and it was super fun.
Yeah,
but
makes your body feel so alive after. It's that tingling feeling when you get out of the sea. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, and it wakes you up in a way that coffee just can't.
Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Ashley, take us a little bit back. Like you said, you were working as an engineer. What kind of job were you working? And I basically asked that because, you know, like taking a jump from where you were to where you are right now probably is something that most people wouldn't do. Can you kind of give a little bit more of background how it looked like before Croatia?
Yeah, so I left school when I was 16. In the UK, we have these apprenticeships you can take. So I took an apprenticeship as an electrician. So I was working at the hospital for the NHS, you know, for our health service. And I was there for a 4-year apprenticeship while studying at the college. And then when I came out of my apprenticeship to the end of my time, there were no jobs that they could offer us, which, you know, we were really sad about because, you know, we just spent 4 years there. And anyway, I decided that maybe I would go to Australia. And my friend said, yeah, I'll come. And then he changed his mind. And then I got offered a job at another company. Not offered a job, sorry, an interview. So I went and took this other interview, and my friend then said, who said he wasn't going to Australia, then changed his mind. He said, I'm going to go to Australia. By this time, I took this interview, and then at the hospital, a job came up for an engineering position, which was like out of hours working. So you were working alone during the night. You were doing the shift work, basically, looking after like 7 hospitals. So everyone who did that job were very experienced sort of engineers near the end of their careers. They were a little bit older. So they told me I should apply for it, but maybe it would just be good interview experience, you know. So I applied, didn't think I was going to get the job just because of my age, you know. It's a big responsibility for someone at 20 years old to become this. And they offered me it, and then they sent me to university. So I had to do like working and then go to university for like 2 days a week or whatever it was. I can't remember now. So yeah, I did that for sort of 5 years, and I got pretty good at it. I would say it became a job which I enjoyed, but there was no way to progress it any further. I had an assistant working with me who was a really, really great guy, and we became like father and son duo. It was nice, and I was sad at the end of my time when I did leave. But you know, I just outgrew that job and outgrew that whole life sort of in Bristol. So yeah, I think when I made the decision to jump into the photography, I didn't think about it. You know, my gut was, when I was on that trip in Sri Lanka, you know, I had a lot going on, sort of personal stuff in my life. And, you know, I had everything. I had a really good job. I had really good salary. I had a camper van. I had like all of these really cool things going for me and everything going on, amazing friends, everything like that. But I didn't have this happiness feeling. I was sad. I was maybe a little bit depressed, you know. I wasn't in such a good place, and I felt like I was stuck in a rut. I was going to work, coming home from work, working throughout the night, just hating what I was doing, basically, and just thinking, wow, is this life? This is really going to be it for the next 40 years of my life or whatever it was going to be. And when I got to Sri Lanka, I think on the like third or fourth day, I just started to look around and realize they've got nothing here. You know, they're poor, but they're happy. Every tuk-tuk driver offers you to come home and eat with his family. Everyone is, you know, everyone's happy. Everyone's so cheerful. And I was like, look at me, I'm so ungrateful for what I have. You know, I'm unhappy. And then I started to, this whole thing and process in my mind started like, am I ungrateful or am I just at the end of where I should be? And it just, you know, all of these thoughts came together and I just said, you know what, I'm going to quit. And I didn't, like I said, I didn't give a second thought for it. It was almost like my gut knew it was right. You know, it was the right decision. And everyone says to me, wow, you're so brave, like how you did that. You're really ballsy. But to me at the time, when I look back at it now, I'm like, shit, that's insane to do that. I quit this job, which I'd studied 6 years for, had everything. And I just came home and quit like that and had no jobs in the pipeline or anything. And but you know, something in my gut, I trust my instinct a lot, and something in my gut just, you know, when you sometimes you go to do something and something doesn't feel right in your gut and you get this gut feeling and you're second doubt in it. I didn't get that feeling once. It was literally like go, 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 go. And
was it like a sense of relief when you let go of the job?
Yeah. I remember where I was when I got the email back from Cell Week saying like, we would offer you. I was in the gym and I was on the bike, and I remember the email came through on my phone and yes, and I was like cycling like, yes, come on, I got the first job. But you know, like I couldn't believe, but yeah, man, it was really one of them things where it just kind of felt so natural and it felt like it was the right thing to do. So it just happened. Yeah,
I feel the same, man. As I said before coming to Ireland, I had the need to take a vacation, like a longer vacation, because I just noticed that like a 1 or 2 week vacation wouldn't cut it. And it was like the same situation, fed up with the job and felt like I reached some kind of, I don't know, threshold and was getting fed up with it. And as you said, it was like my highest salary ever, you know, like I was good at the job. I was happy with what I was doing, but I kind of just didn't feel it, you know, and then didn't fulfill me. And yeah, I also kind of when as soon as I let go, I felt like I released a vent somewhere.
And
like,
it's like you did you have that feeling where it's like you don't even think about looking back? You know, it doesn't go through you to think, okay, let's look back or I'll second guess that or anything. It's just like a feeling of pure, I can't explain it. It's pure just knowing. You just know, and just it feels natural.
I did go back to have coffee with past colleagues from the company.
I've done that as well. Like I said, my assistant who I worked with, this really great guy. I used to go, he continued working there after I left, and I would always, like when I go back home to the UK, we used to have like a kebab Friday where when we were working sort of, our shift would be 2 in the afternoon till 10 at night, or 10 at night till 8 a.m. the next morning. So Fridays were always our takeaway night, and on our dinner we would go to the kebab shop. So whenever I go back to the UK, he's not working there now anymore, I would go into the old work, and he would pick me up and we would eat a kebab. But I can say, man, like even after being away for 3 years and doing all of the stuff I did, as soon as I walked down that corridor back towards my old workshop, it was like I was there 2 days ago. It was the smells, the feeling, the noises, like all of that didn't happen. Like it was just a dream, you know? And I feel like if I was to go back to that job tomorrow, it would feel the same. It would feel like I just took a vacation and came back. Not that it's been 5 years, you know? I had this OCD where every time I walked down this one corridor, I had to like tap this locker as I walked past it twice. And you know, even that, when I was walking down, I just did that. Like it was like, didn't even think about it. It just happened. And I was like, it's been 3 years and nothing's changed, you know?
It's amazing how the body remembers things and how things get stuck in your subconscious.
It's really crazy. I couldn't imagine, you know, a lot of people always ask me like, could you imagine going back to that job and doing that job again? And I'd like to think that I really couldn't go back to it, but some part of me did really enjoy that job. Like, not gonna lie, I'm not gonna go back there ever. But if I had to, like worst case scenario, then yeah, why not? I would probably go back there, or at least think about it. It's yeah, so it's weird, you know. I have a lot of respect for my time there, but that's the old me, even. Yeah.
I don't know. Actually, I always kind of had a feeling that electrical engineers would have like a really easy time finding new jobs. And the way you described it, it sounded like there were not that many jobs open at that time.
Yeah, I think like for me, because I just came out of my apprenticeship as an electrician back then, so I was just an electrician. What was hard back then was everyone wants the installation electricians, you know, people who can install, whereas I was like a maintenance electrician, like a breakdown electrician. So our sort of jobs in the hospital were a lot of like going out to fix things, you know, fixing broken lights, fixing broken washing machines, fixing like loads of broken things, broken hospital equipment, etc. So when you've learned in such a not small, it's big, there's a lot of maintenance jobs out there. But yeah, it was kind of like, I didn't want to kind of leave that institution, or you know, you kind of, when you've been there for that long, you get institutionalized a little bit, you know. So I didn't want to like go away too far from the hospital. I wanted to sort of stay in that sector of maintenance if I could. So, but yeah, I think you know, a lot of people who study to be engineers, it's a very different to sort of, like, I can say I was an engineer, but I was an engineer who was working on the tools, you know. Whereas a lot of engineers kind of study and then they go straight to an office and they don't actually do any practical sort of work. So I think there's a big difference between them two. So.
Right. Were there any correlation to the boats where you were on? Like, could you use your previous skills on the boats? And
yeah, it's happened a few times. Like, we get a few issues on the boat or whatever, and I've managed to fix the light, the electrical, or anything like that. Which is, you know, every time someone's like, because I think a lot of them don't, especially a lot of the skippers, they don't realize that before this, that was my job. You know, I studied to do that. So. One was
I'll take care of it, right?
Yeah, there was like Ash, the photographer. He's not going to know how to do that. Like, come on. But yeah, no, I think there's one, Goran. He's like my ginger brother. He always takes the mick out of me because I once said, "Oh yeah, I was a fully qualified electrician," you know. But in the UK, that's a thing you would say. You would say you're fully qualified. It's just because I did. I had all of the certificates available, you know. So his joke now is always, "Oh, I'm fully qualified," you know, like, or, you know, he always says, "How can you be half qualified?" Or, you know, like, what do you mean fully qualified? So he's always laughing about that. But yeah, there's been a few things I've fixed and sort of done. Yeah,
nice. That comes in handy on boats. As I spent there 4 months on the island of Hvar, the guy that was doing the maintenance on our cars and bikes also was one of the like pro guys on fixing boats, but not just like anything, like the big engines, you know. And that's usually a big problem for boats, yachts, and things like that. You get stranded on an island, you know, and then waiting for someone to come over who can fix like a huge engine. That's usually tough. And he really does a good job.
Yeah, that happens a lot, you know. You see it, people waiting for the mechanics to come out and stuff like that.
And he's the super patient type. Like, he'll take apart an engine from like fully assembled to like the last screw, and then like analyze there, and you'll be like,
that's why he's the best, you know. That's you know, he does it by the book, and
it's amazing. Like, I worked with him a lot and kind of gained like I'm not fully proficient, you know.
But but of course you will pick up skills just by watching someone like that, and okay, that does that, or that fixes that. I
was never that techie, you know. I don't know. I always prefer to kind of work with people rather than with machines. I don't know why, but
what are you like at sort of say like DIY? Because I have some friends who, you know, I couldn't even imagine them painting a wall, you know, because they're, I don't know, you know, have them friends who some are into that, some naturally have that, and some don't. You know, what do you like for that?
I think my dad pulled me a little bit into that when I was a kid. He's like, mow the lawn, and I was like, all right, you know. And then all right, so today we're painting the garage, you know.
The way, same for me.
Cool. All right, let's switch back to photography, man. Like, that's also a big topic. Like when I was a kid, I noticed a lot of cameras at home because my dad like bought them when he was younger, and he loved to take photographs and develop the pictures and all of that. And they're really, really old, you know. So he has like a 10, 15 piece collection from when he was younger. And of course, today cameras are completely different than than they used to be.
Yeah, a whole different ball game.
Do you have like a professional camera, or do you shoot from your phone, or is it a mix?
I have. So I have two cameras. I'm shooting with Canon. So I sort of started. Well, I have it actually. If you want me to get it, it's just over here. It's the first ever camera I had. Give me a second. So when I took my first road trip to Australia, my dad gave me this. It's a video camera.
All right.
Old school, as you can see. It's a Handycam Sony. And I had this, and I had a point and shoot. Was the first sort of camera I had. A small little Samsung. It's still at home in my treasure chest. And yeah, compared to now, this is one of my cameras I'm shooting with. It's always here next to me. I'm shooting with the Canon 6D. So yeah, it's a bit of a beast of a camera. I have the Mark 1 and the Mark 2 now. But you know, I would love to upgrade. I know that sounds stupid when I had two cameras already, but you know, cameras are improving like every year, insane amounts. And it's not sort of the camera, it's not sort of say the picture which is improving now, it's the things you can do with them. Like for example, this is the Mark II. I have this like flip out screen, which to some it might seem pointless. It's a game changer when you're working on boats and stuff and you can't reach out and you can just put the camera out and see then.
And there's a weird angle. Yeah.
So you know, the cameras are getting a lot smarter now, especially with their autofocus and stuff like that. Like I think my friend has one of the Sonys, and the lens, it's the lenses which are getting fast. You know, he has a brand new lens, and literally as soon as you do that, boom, it's focused. Whereas this slowing down a little bit now, but yeah, that's my cameras. I shoot with sort of like, I carry 4 lenses, different lenses with me. I shoot on this 24 to 105. I'm also shooting on a 35mm prime, and a 70 to 200 is that's like the big sort of lens. So yeah, no, 3 lenses. Sorry, I have 3, not 4. And yeah, going back to this little sort of camera. Like when I was a kid, my dad always had like a camera like this, but a bigger one. You know, the old sort of film ones. I was always playing with that all the time as a kid, wanting to do the film and hold it, and then playing on his camera all the time. And then yeah, sort of that's sort of, I would say, how, just going back to how I fell in love with photography. My granddad also, he always had good cameras. He always had like film cameras. And I don't know, I remember there was one picture I was always in love with, and I had it in my bedroom since I was young. It's the Rockefeller lunch. You know that picture where the guys are sat on I'll show you let me just grab it up. So
on the steel bar above New York. Yeah, I know the picture. That's amazing.
Super famous picture. Yeah, this one. Here, just so
I know it. Yeah. That's
so I had it in my bedroom, and I think that was one of probably the first pictures I sort of fell in love with, and the art of photography, you know. And then I was always interested in, when I was looking through my granddad's war magazines and through everything, you know, I was always looking at the pictures, like, well, how do they take that? And you know, you see these things, and the brain was always wondering a little bit. So.
Yeah. And when you see those like really old pictures, you don't even know who the people are or where it is. You're always kind of trying to figure out the story behind it. It's like, where is that? What happened there? Like, who are these people? What were they doing? You know?
Exactly, man. Yeah, exactly like that. I remember when I went to Australia on that first trip when I was 21, when I had this little camera, I thought I was so creative with all these angles I was getting, and I look back at the pictures now, and they weren't bad, to be fair. I'm not gonna lie, they weren't bad, but like back then I had no access to editing equipment or anything like that. But I always think, like, if I started back then posting on Instagram all of these pictures and knew how to do it, and technology was, who knows where I could have been now, like how much further advanced. But you know, everything happens for a reason, of course. So it wasn't my time back then.
I get the feeling.
It was all a good learning curve.
Yeah, I definitely know the feeling. Like I was against photography, and I was always the guy that like didn't want to put anything on Facebook, use it only to chat, and like there's basically no pictures of me prior to 2018.
Yeah.
But then I kind of I was started thinking about it, and I know that I listened to a lot of Gary V. I don't know if you know Gary Vaynerchuk, the US-based entrepreneur, talking a lot about social media. And
Yeah.
one of his concepts is like creating a lot on social media to basically get to where you want to get, either in your business or private life, right? And a lot of people ask him like, oh, but how, like how to get there faster, and how to make the perfect video, the perfect pictures and things like that. It's like, don't worry about perfection at the start. Just like rather document rather than create, and
just get it out there. Yeah, exactly.
He was talking about the benefits of social media, and I kind of fell in love with his ideas. So I said, all right, 2018 is the year when I'm kind of starting, and then I said, all right, I'm going to take a picture each day of something, right? And then it's like, oh, a rock, and the beach and stuff
just
like
that.
Put
it out there. Yeah, that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
But
then I kind of fell in love more with videos, and filming for YouTube and podcasts and things like that. I do prefer it over photography, I have to say.
You do, yeah. It's funny, like a lot of people have that sort of, you're either more into photo or more into video. Like I have a lot of respect for videographers and the art of video as well, and especially when it comes to like film and stuff like that. I love these short films, and I love what people can do with a video, it really tell a story. But something for me, photography, it's just one image, and not any, no matter, even if I take a picture at exactly the same time as you, both our images will be different. That's what I think I kind of love about it. Every single picture is unique in its own way,
You mentioned the lunch in New York on the steel bar there. Do you have any other pictures that you love, or are kind of like your top ones?
I have one photographer which I really, really admire. His name's Donald McCullin. I'm not sure if you heard of him. He's a wartime photographer. You would know maybe one of his really famous shots. I remember seeing it when I was a kid, probably in my granddad's or somewhere like that. I don't remember where I seen it, but I would just show you so you can see this picture, because as soon as you see it, you'll recognize it. It's of a shell-shocked soldier in Vietnam. Maybe, did you? It
does look familiar, yeah.
But he's a wartime photographer, and everything he shoots is pretty much in black and white. I just got a lot of respect for this guy. There's a really, really good documentary about him. I think it's on YouTube actually. It's just called McCullin. It's really, really, it's a documentary movie. It's like an hour and something long, I think. But just the story of how he started as a photographer. He was like some Londoner in a gang, and then picked up a camera, and he just kept chasing war, and he got, of course, messed up by that. But it's very interesting story to sort of follow. But yeah, there's a few pictures out there which I really love. That National Geographic portrait of I forget the name of the photographer who shot it now, where she has the headscarf and her eyes are the piercing blue. I think everyone knows that picture. That's like,
I think I remember. The scarf is kind of brown or orangey, right?
Yeah, like a reddy color. Yeah, it's like one of National Geographic's most famous pictures, I think. But yeah, I'm not too sure. Sometimes, like with pictures, I see a picture and I sort of really fall in love with that picture for a little while, and then something new comes along and I fall in love with that. And yeah, it's I'm not sure if I can say I have one all-time favorite picture.
Right,
that's a good question. Yeah,
I get that. And do you sell your art as well?
So at the moment, I for the last few years I haven't been. When I was starting out, it was something I was sort of really, really doing. And I think if I wasn't working sort of the job I'm working at the moment with Sale Week, in terms of more in like a media position as a manager, rather than being a photographer, I'm still a photographer, of course. That's still my job, I would say. But I work a lot more now, sort of like hiring other photographers and creating media teams and stuff like that. But so I haven't really had to think about selling my work, And it's only till recently I just printed out some of my pictures for my apartment. That I had quite a few people asking where they could buy them, if they could buy them. And I don't have a website or anything anymore, but maybe it's something I should look at getting again and selling some of my prints for sure. So inbox is open if anyone wants to buy some.
All right. For the watchers and listeners, we'll leave some links below in the show notes. But let's switch to video there, because I before we switch, I definitely think that's a good idea, and I'm sure that people will be interested. I think that in the last few years, that as people were more at home, they kind of started thinking about like, oh, what should I do with my house? Like, oh, maybe I should get a new picture. And I think here's where people kind of got more aware of it.
Yeah, for sure, man. I always had this idea in my head that whenever I owned my own apartment or my own house, or even if I rented, like the only pictures I would have in there would be my own. I know that sounds vain or whatever, but not because I think my pictures are the best or anything like that, but just purely because that was like a goal I set myself in my head. Like I would love to walk in a hallway and say, well, I shot that picture. That's my picture. Or, or like now I'm looking around at my pictures on the wall and stuff. Like, if you want, I can take them down and show you. But I think like you said, with everyone being at home, your home is your space, your safe space. So you should be full of these pictures and things on the wall which make you feel comfortable or bring certain memories back to you, or something like that. So
I agree. Videos do that for me, like I sometimes rewatch old videos and I'm like, I remember where I was when I shot that. And you can kind of feel the feeling and hear your thoughts kind of coming from there. Yeah.
That's also, I think that's one thing similar with the photography as well. Like you can look back at a picture or so for you a video, and like you said, you instantly go back into that moment of where you were when you shot it, what you were feeling when you shot it. Like this picture I'm looking at over here now, it's the guy fishing on Uchec Neretve. If you want, I can drag it up just so I don't have to flip the camera.
That's one of a really hard word to say, man.
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce that.
That's hard to say for me, man.
This is the picture.
Nice.
So I've had it printed and put on my wall.
Black and white, right?
Black and white, yeah. But when I look at that picture, I remember everything, like every feeling. And as soon as I hit the click, I was like, that's the shot. I hit it and I knew it was the shot. That's the shot. And when I got back and put it on my laptop and started to look at the edit, I was like, oof, okay, there's only one thing that could have made this picture better, and that was if the guy was throwing the fishing net or something.
And if you caught it like midair.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he wasn't doing that. He was sticking a rake into the ground, but still, nevertheless, it's still a good picture.
Were you shouting at him like, come on, throw it, man?
Yeah, throw the net. He didn't have a net. I was waiting for like a good 5 minutes to get the picture. I'm just hoping
throw something.
Do something for me. Come on. So, but that's like one of my favorite things about like shooting these kind of pictures is you have to have patience and wait, and sometimes it will come and other times it won't. I think a lot of photographers and people out there who are new to photography pick up a camera and expect that they're going to get the shot instantly and just be able to walk around, and you can walk around and pick up some good shots, but sometimes you have to sit and wait and be patient and wait for the shot to come to you.
I've seen the National Geographic guys who like sit in the grass for like hours on end.
Them guys.
Days, just to get the perfect, like the famous photo when the bird is flying towards the water and it's a perfect reflection of it up and down. Like
Kingfisher.
That's an amazing photo. Like how much time do you have to spend sitting around the lake aiming for it? Like I'm sure that birds fly around there all the time, right?
I can't even imagine the how long you would sit and wait, and then imagine you didn't get the focus right, or you got the exposure wrong, or something like that. Yeah, you would kill it. You would be so mad at yourself. You wouldn't want to be in your own body for a few days. You would want to leave.
There's always these things that people don't think about. Like you're sitting next to a lake. There's probably mosquitoes everywhere biting you. You're getting hungry. You're getting bored. Like your hands hurt. Your legs are in dirt. Like people don't take that into account. It's a lot harder than people think.
Definitely, man. Like I think that's same for like videography as well, you know, like it's hard, you know, it's not easy. You have to, a lot of work goes into it. I always think about like surf photography and surf videos and stuff, you know. A lot of people think that these videos just appear by magic, but they forget that there's someone in the water, treading water, holding a heavy camera, trying to hold it still while someone guy is coming towards them on a surfboard, and, you know, like keeping their bottle without going through the wave, getting pulled through a wave. And, you know, I think, you know, there's a lot of sort of videography, photography like that, which kind of doesn't get the recognition it deserves for how hard it is to get them kind of shots.
Do you surf?
I was surfing, yeah, when I was in Bali. I haven't surfed now for 2 years almost, which sucks. But yeah, I miss surfing.
Is Croatia a surfing destination at all? Like, I don't remember any of my friends actually surfing.
No, we have like windsurfing and kite surfing here, but there's no tidal. So there's okay, the tide drops by like a meter or something, so it's not enough to create like a wave. So yeah, there's no wave here. Someone told me there's one. I looked into it. It comes maybe once a year or something.
One
like
wave,
that.
like
one wave, like yeah, like one time of the year. There's a couple waves. But you know, can you imagine the lineup for that? There's probably like 50 guys sat there waiting to jump on.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so we're canceling surfing. All right, cool.
Yeah. No,
tell me, when you moved to Croatia, I saw some pictures of you like doing the van life. How did that work?
Yeah, so when I came, like moved here full time because of COVID and Brexit, I took the residency and stuff. I spent the first winter here, and you know, I was a little bit bored at times. And I had vans in Australia. I lived in a van. Like I said, in the UK, I had a van. So, you know, I started to look online. I wanted a car originally. I wasn't thinking about getting a van. I was looking to buy an old school Mercedes, like a really old one.
Like from the hippie era. Like, no, that's a Volkswagen, right?
Yeah, that's a VW. Yeah. I just wanted like an old school Mercedes car. I thought they were so cool. And I was looking on Nishkalo, and I typed in Mercedes, and up came this van, and okay, this looks okay. This looks pretty good. And I tried to call the guy. Again, it was a gut feeling thing. Nothing. Normally I'm imming and amming whether I should call someone or not. I was like, you know what? I'm going to call him. Called him straight away. And I said like, Govešli Engleska. And no. Boom. Just put the phone down. I went, okay. Well, here we go. So I got my boss, my good friend as well, to call up for me, and he spoke with him, and it was this old guy up in Rijeka, so far from Split, you know, 4 hours from Split. And he said, yeah, he still has it. He's not using it so much anymore. Everything's good, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we can come take a look at it if we want. So my friend said to me, like, I can take you there if you want, but it's far. So let's be prepared if we're going to buy it or not. So think about it. So yeah, I took a day or two just to think about it. And again, I just said, let's go look at it. And yeah, we got there. He'd done his best to make it into a camper van. He didn't do too bad of a job, you know. Have to give him a shout out. Mane Drobach, his name was. I don't know if I'm allowed to say people's names on here, but
sure, yeah. We'll leave his Instagram.
You know, he smoked a lot of cigarettes. He had like the orange mustache, and just this old Croatian guy who didn't speak any English. So Ante, my friend, was doing all of the negotiations and everything like that. We took it for a test drive. The lights weren't working, you know, loads of little things like this, but it had some charm to it. So I decided to buy it there and then. And yeah, that's sort of how the camper life in Croatia sort of started again. And I fixed it up and made it good. And yeah, I've been touring around sort of in the van. And then that's kind of when sort of RedBull then reached out to me, because they seen that as well and offered me like a opinion leader position. So yeah, writing articles for them about Croatia and stuff now. And Croatia through my eyes, basically, the eyes of a tourist. So yeah.
Nice. Do they tell you where to go with the van, or are they like, oh yeah, just go and
No, so
tell us
it's
how it
yeah,
was?
it's just down to me. Just whenever I want to write article, I'll write an article for them, and sort of I think they sort of noticed from my TikTok that you've seen the videos. You know, a lot of people were commenting on these videos. Where is this? Where? Oh my God, I live in Croatia. I never knew about this. You know, I was going to the places off the beaten track where
Mhm.
it wasn't just the tourist hotspot. So, yeah, I think that's why they sort of got involved, and yeah, that's why it went from there. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just
uh,
doing that.
Sorry, man. I feel that's a
Yeah,
fair point. I think that a lot of people just know for like three places, like Dubrovnik, Split, Zadar,
yeah,
maybe the Plitvice Lakes, and
yeah,
recently they
exactly.
probably heard about Zagreb, you know, and that's like four or
Yeah,
five
yeah,
places.
exactly. Yeah, and you know,
That's
there's
it.
so many nice places here, which are really, really beautiful and don't sort of get that the credit they deserve. You know, but
Mm,
just while you're on the topic of Plitvice, one of the last articles I wrote was about Plitvice because I'd never been there, because I assumed it was a tourist trap and overrated. But oof, man, it's one of the nicest national park. Well, I'm going to say the nicest national park I've ever been to. I went there in October and it was perfect. You know, all the
mhm.
leaves were turning orange.
Yeah.
The color reflections were insane, and the park was pretty much empty. You know, you could just walk
Mm,
around. It's a magical place. You have to
amazing.
visit
Yeah.
if you're. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I haven't visited in a few years now. And last time when we were coming to Croatia, I was like, all right, we're going to do it. We're going to go to Plitvice Lakes. And we wanted to take a few friends, you know, rent a car and just go there. And we couldn't
yeah,
organize ourselves because people were working in different shifts and different days. And we couldn't get the whole day off for all three, you know,
yeah,
like couples to go. So we kind of canceled it. So that's still on my to-do list for next time. But
yeah.
what I wanted to recommend you is like, have you ever seen them during winter when everything's frozen?
No, I didn't. Yeah, that's when I want to go. I would love to, but you know, it's been very warm here, man. We haven't had much ice or snow. Um, so I know a friend who went recently thinking that would be the case, and
Mhm.
they
It
said
wasn't.
no, there was no nothing. So
Shoot. Yeah, but
yeah,
that's amazing, something amazing to see. Like because most
yeah,
people know
I've
them
heard that. Yeah, I've
during
heard it's
summer, you know, when
really,
everything is green, and yeah, that's just completely different.
yeah, yeah. I have to go. I want to try. I think I'll struggle to get there in the summer, but I would love to see it every season. So
Hmm.
winter, autumn, and spring. I think that would be cool just to see it throughout the year at different stages and how it looks.
Yeah, that would be an amazing TikTok video at the end, like a
Yeah,
compilation of all the
exactly. Yeah,
photos.
I should do the same video at each point of the year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
that'd
and
be
then
cool.
at the end, like all four together. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Together, yeah.
Can you like if you're going with a camper there, like can you stay on Plitvice? Like, is there a place where you can eat
I
or?
think they have some campsites up there. Yeah, they have some campsites for sure. I think when I was driving past the time I was there, I seen a couple of signs and stuff for campsites. So I think they have, but I imagine they're not so cheap. Um,
Mm.
we get a lot of German people over here in their campers. So
Talk to me about that because I kind of don't know how it works from the financial side. Like, how expensive or cheap is living the van camper life in
van life.
Croatia?
Because I'm not doing it full time, you know, like because I have the apartment and stuff, I'm sort of like just more like doing trips for a few days at
Mhm.
a time. But I've met loads of people who are traveling through Europe and on their way down, and they said they've never sort of had any issues, especially like spring, autumn sort of time of year. When the tourists are here, I think the police are a little bit more on it for where you're camping and if you're wild, especially if you're camping wild, you know, like
Mhm.
where you shouldn't be or in car parks and stuff. But I think if you were to do it in a camper van and go to all the campsites, it's not too bad prices. I think it's around like 15 euros a night at a campsite. So it's, you know, it's not sort of too bad at all. I think it adds up when there's more of you and the size of your van and stuff like that. But for me, I try to just, yeah, when I can go away and if I can find somewhere where I don't need to pay better, but if not, then like this time of year, there's no campsites open. So what are
Mm.
you supposed to do? You know?
Yeah, yeah. What's the law actually on that? Can you just go into nature and leave it somewhere? Like,
I don't think so. I think in Croatia it's illegal, maybe, but I think everywhere says it's illegal. But you know, everyone does it. What's the
yeah,
difference between you sleeping in your van in a car park versus like a lorry driver sleeping
yeah,
in his lorry? You know, it's the same. but I think I understand where it gets difficult. You know, imagine like you had this beautiful house and below you there's a small car park, and every night there's new people coming in camper vans, and you know, I understand that's why they have to keep on top of it. Otherwise it does become that. But you know, I leave no trace wherever I go. I take everything with me, and one night and then I'm off again. So
leave only footprints, take only memories, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think in the UK they've got a bad problem with people leaving a lot of trash and stuff behind, which, you know, it sucks. You know, why would you do that? It ruins it for everyone. So
yeah, I agree on that one. Yeah. All right. Cool. Because I'm asking because I'm thinking about doing like I never done a whole like Croatia coast tour, and like I've driven through it like hundreds of times, but never done it like that, you know. And I really want to do it something like that, like renting a van, you know, like camper, like even with the car, you know, just like going and there's a cool beach. Let's stop there. Go for a swim. You know, go out, have a coffee somewhere. You know, Croatians and their coffee.
Yeah, that's the way to do it for sure. Yeah, if anyone's thinking about getting a van, I 100% recommend it.
How much would a van cost, like approximately?
Depends what you're looking at. You know, like I picked up mine for a pretty good price. I think I paid like just over 4,000 euros or something for mine, but it's old. It's 2003. So yeah, I think it all sort of depends on what you're looking at, what you want, and these kind of things. I think
makes sense.
That's the only way to sort of describe it.
I would also use the advantage of, like, I know that Croatia has a lot of festivals in like small places all over, and then this month there's like one's here, one's there, one's here, you know. And then if you're only staying at one place, if you rent an apartment in, let's say, Zadar, then you kind of missing out on all the places, you know. But if you're mobile like that with a van, I'm sure that you can be like on another festival every day or two.
Exactly. Yeah, you could do it for sure. Yeah, that's one beauty of having the van. You know, you can sort of just bounce around and go to the next place. And
I definitely have to do that. When I'll be doing it, I'll definitely contact you again for some more advice.
Hit me up. We can take some pictures of you.
Cool, man. Speaking of pictures and everything that you're doing on TikTok, what are some of the differences that you noticed now that you moved to Croatia? Like, how is life different? How's the culture different? How's the mindset different? The people, the food, the customs, you know, things like that.
Very different. Still struggling to sort of adjust to it in some ways. You know, like mindset here is very different to in the UK. I feel like maybe at some points they're back, maybe 10 years, of how open-minded they can be. You know, I'm not saying everyone, but it's very different. You know, I think in the UK it's a lot easier to sort of make friends and stuff like that. I would say also it's kind of hard here to at times, you know, as a guy trying to meet other guys to become friends. You know, in the UK you could kind of go to a bar and start talking with some guys or whatever, but here that's a little bit harder to do. But everything else, it's pretty different. It's a lot slower pace here to what I was used to in the UK and stuff. So that's also one other big difference. The food also very different. Everything's different, man. It's everything's different, but you know, I love it. I kind of sort of found my happy spot here. So I think that's a nice thing about it.
I remember that a lot of people that I've met back in Croatia say that for everyone basically living northern than, I don't know, Berlin, that they're kind of colder, more reserved, you know. Do you get that impression that people up north are like more reserved, cold, don't open up that much, and that in Croatia people are more open? Or would you say that that's not true?
I would say it's hard because I don't know a lot of people from up north, like northern Germany or anywhere. I know a lot of Germans, and that they're pretty open-minded to who I've met so far.
Yeah, also, I think it depends on like.
Yeah, it's a hard question, man. I couldn't say for that one. I don't think.
All right, let's skip that one. Were Croatian insults the first thing that people taught you?
Yeah,
how to say that?
Of course. Of course. I remember going back to this guy Goran, who I first met. You know, the one who always says about fully qualified. I don't know can I swear on here or not?
Yeah, let's do it.
Uh,
Make an exception.
he said, first day I met him, I had to go to like the van and pick up my uniform. And I was like, hey man, nice to meet you, I'm Ash. And he was like, I don't give a fuck, asshole. Okay. And then the whole week he was just swearing at me in Croatian, you know, tomate, you know, everything. And I had no clue what he was saying the whole week. He was just yelling on me in Croatian. I was like, wow, this guy really hates me. Like, what have I done? Is this the life I've chose? But you know, he's a big softy after. He's just giving me shit on the first week.
Yeah.
But yeah, that curse words were the first thing I sort of.
They also gave you like a strange nickname there for a while, right?
Yeah, Pichka. I kind of gave myself that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, I didn't. I sort of made a TikTok saying like, if you have long hair and jewelry, they call you a Pichka. If you talk about emotions, you're a Pichka. All these things I do, you know, because people were calling me Pichka. And then that TikTok kind of went a bit viral, you know, like 2 million views or something, or almost 2 million views now. And
crazy, man.
Yeah, and then the nickname kind of stuck, and now people shout Pichka
shouting on the street. Oh man, that's a crazy story. Yeah.
What is this? Yeah, what is this? But yeah, I guess it's a cool nickname to have because I don't take insult to it. So
I'm glad that you're owning it, kind of, and not taking offense.
yeah, I have to, man. I have no other choice. I have no other choice at all.
I kind of have I don't know if it's a habit or if it's just in culture, but when you're really good friends with someone in Croatia, we often insult ourselves more than a person that you don't know.
Yeah, of course. Me and my best friend, we abuse each other so much with our messaging. Yeah, it's an English thing as well. Yeah, I think you know, you have a good friendship when you can do that.
Yeah, true. If somebody listened to it from the outside who doesn't know you, they'll be like, "Oh my god, they hate each other." You know?
What are you guys talking about?
Yeah. All right. Then I presume it's universal, you know.
Yeah, I think that one's universal. Yeah.
What are some of your plans for the future? Do you have, like you mentioned there, that you set a goal for your house and pictures and all of that? Do you set any other goals, any directions you're going into, or?
You know, I've always been, when people always ask like, what's your 5-year plan? I don't really have one. I'm not someone who's set on living in 5 years time, you know. Of course I want to be alive, but you know, I'm not someone who's like focused on that or driven by that. I would just probably say that in 5 years time, I want to be a better version of who I am now. You know, I want to be, whether that's to do with work or to do with my mental health or just anything along them terms. I want to keep expanding as a person, you know, and kind of getting to a point where I'm still happy, you know, and can look back at my younger self and go, good job, Tugs, you did well then, and now you're doing even better. So I would love to stay working with this company. I'm working with Cell Week and seeing how things go with them and trying to take us to the next level. That's kind of my drive at the moment for work. In terms of like photography and stuff like that, I have a couple of trips which I would say I want to do in the next, let's say in the future at some point. I really want to try get back to Sri Lanka, and I really want to get down to Africa. So there are sort of 2 trips which have been on my list for a while. Yeah, man, I would say that's it. What about you? I keep speaking about me, but I'm not sure if I'm sure you've asked these questions before. But
I try to sketch out like the year in advance. I also don't have like, you know, like 5-10 year goals, even though I hear a lot of people recommend them as like a great for focus and things like that. I noticed that I often change my opinions and things that I like and don't like and want to see, travel, things like that, you know. So I don't like to keep too tight of a schedule just to have like more, you know, like freedom. If I say like, all right, I want to change this up, you know, so that I can do it. But yeah, I think I set goals within like 1 year. Like now I'm doing some kind of a race. I did actually my first one last year here in Ireland. A friend of mine and I started training for something like a triathlon, like running, cycling, and a little bit of kayaking.
Nice. Yeah.
We didn't have enough time to prepare, you know. It was like 150K or something like that in total. Like
a lot.
it was it was crazy. And the only day in Ireland when it wasn't raining or cloudy, when it was like 30 degrees, was at the day of the race, you know. So we were struggling with the sun and everything, but
With the
I want to
heat,
do it.
yeah.
I want to do it again, you know. So there's one coming up in March now. So this one's shorter, like half the length. It's in a different place as well, but the same organizers, so I'm sure it'll be fine. That, and I have a few like weddings planned this year, so I'll definitely come to Croatia, and
Nice.
one of them is actually on the island of Krk. So I'm kind of thinking of I'm kind of thinking of combining the new job, working remotely, visiting Croatia, doing the weddings, all of it at once, you know, and taking like a long holiday again, you know, like, and
nice.
see how actually productive I would be from working from a beach,
Working
you know.
away, yeah. I didn't get to the island Kirk yet, but I plan to go there in the van soon because all I've heard about it is really, really good things. So
tell me that if someone like, because most my listeners are from Ireland, the US, and then scattered around, if somebody's thinking of coming to the Croatia, what would be some of your tips from, you know, like, because Croatians will give their own, but what are some of yours?
So of course you probably have to fly into one of the bigger places like Split, Dubrovnik, or Zadar, or anything like that. But for me, I think as beautiful as Croatia inland is, like the mainland, the islands you have to sort of go see. I know you, like a lot of people, know about the islands. So for me, my favorite islands are Vis and Korčula. I think they're really beautiful, especially Vis. It has this energy there, you know, like some kind of, I don't know. I would definitely recommend them. I would say Hvar as well. You have to do, but you know, if you can spend 3 weeks here, you should rent a car and do the coast a little bit as well. You know, like Makaskar, for example. That is one of the best backdrops I've ever seen in my life. Like when you look up at Biokovo, that mountain, and it's there behind, it looks like a movie set or something, you know. And but also, up the coast as well. When you go towards like Kirk and Pag and stuff like that, they're also like I found that very strange in my van when I went like from Zadar to Pag, how it becomes like I made a stupid TikTok like saying when you go across that one bridge, it's like going onto the moon because there's no plantation there. There's nothing. It's just rock, you know, and everywhere else in Croatia is green and stuff. And then Pag is just pure rock, and it literally looks like Mars, which, you know, you have to go check that out. That's super cool to see, if you ask me. And it's crazy how Croatia is so different, so small, but has so many differences. You know, like earlier I was saying, Zagreb is totally different to when you come down to the coast, and then the coast is different. If you go to the north of the coast, you know, Pag and Kirk and stuff like that, it's all rocky, and whereas when you come down to Vis and stuff, it's all green, and you know, everything's different. And then as you sort of go further down, you have Mijet National Park, which is also insane and really beautiful. So yeah, I would say if you only have a little bit of time, you should try at least maybe one city, Split or Dubrovnik, and go to the islands or something like that. But don't get me wrong, Croatia has a lot to see, so I don't want to offend all of the listeners who watch this and say, oh, you only talk about Dalmatia. You know, a lot of people on my TikTok are always, oh, you never show the rest of Croatia. But you know, I think as beautiful as it is, Dalmatia is pretty special.
I agree on that one. Yeah, definitely. All right. Ashley, something that I always kind of leave for the end of the podcast. I kind of have a feeling that you found yourself here, traveling, photography, working the job that you do. And this podcast is kind of focused on that, on people who kind of figured out themselves and their passion and things like that. How do you find the gold in life?
How do I find the gold in life? I would say trust your instinct. Trust your instinct, and you know, find something you enjoy doing. Like for me, photography, you know, I enjoyed doing that, and I pushed hard for it, you know, but it felt right. So if it doesn't feel right, back off of it for a little while, or whatever, you know. Always trust your gut and work hard. You know, you have to work hard to find that gold. It's not an easy ride. And you know, at times you sort of have to prepare yourself for failure and some knockbacks and stuff like that. Like I have many of them along the way, but you just have to dust yourself down, keep going, trust, like I said again, trust your gut, and yeah, I think you'll find your gold if you work hard and trust your gut. Maybe that's a rubbish one, but I don't know. For me,
I love it.
Yeah,
I agree completely, because that's kind of how I look at it. I feel like I was working hard too much on things that I didn't like, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I started a sales job in Croatia for, like, a lot of people will say, like, oh, if you're selling something, you should believe in the product. And I was like, nah, man, like, you just have to sell it, you know? And then it didn't work. And I was like, why is this happening? Like, why is no one buying?
Yeah, you didn't believe.
There's something that happens when you like cross the hard work with the passion part, you know, like,
yeah, exactly.
Magic happens there, you know.
I think there's one philosopher, Alan Watts. I'm not sure if you're aware of him, but he has this super famous video about like, what do you desire? Like, what if money was no object, and what do you desire? You know, and I think a lot of people should go at that. You know, like, and he speaks in that video where he says, okay, well, if you said you wanted to be a photographer, someone may say, oh, there's no money in that. But, you know, if you train yourself to become a master of photography, and, you know, there is money in that, you know, and it's, if you wanted to be I think he uses the reference of like a horse trainer or something like that. And someone says, oh, that's a stupid job, but it's not, you know, people need horse trainers. So do something you're passionate about and something you want in life, you know, and otherwise you'll get stuck in a rut and end up just like the rest of them.
Yeah, I agree, man. I ask this question often to some of my friends when they start like, oh, maybe I should do this, maybe I should do that, you know, and often money gets mixed up in the decision-making process.
Yeah, that's the thing. Everyone always thinks about the money, you know, like, oh, how much can I earn, or how much is there to make each year from that, whereas not what can that bring into my life, how happy will that make me? Yeah, I may be earning 5,000 or 10,000 less, or however much less than what I was, like, this is just in general for anyone, but you know, you may have such a better quality of life, you may have more time with your family, you may have more time out in nature, you may have, you know, and I think everyone got caught up in this kind of rat race of thinking money was the thing they needed, and it's really not, I think.
I'll give you another one that I stumbled on last year. It was a lot of people ask, like, oh, what are the benefits that the company will give me? How much money will I get? What would it mean for my career? But actually, a very important question to ask is, who will I become if I take this job and do it for a long period of time, right? And nobody thinks like that, right? Everybody thinks like, oh, I will wear a suit and have money and like go to exactly. Who will you become? You know, I think that's a lot more important.
Yeah, you become the guy who's never home for family dinners. He's always working, or, you know, etc., etc. So I think, I think it's all about having the right sort of balance with your work life and personal life and free time.
I agree. We ended the podcast on Alan Watts story. I love that, man. Going in deep, and that's actually an amazing question.
Good way to end, I hope. Yeah.
Excellent. Ashley, thanks so much for sharing your thoughts, ideas. If people want to see more of your work and want to follow you, where would you direct them?
So if you want to see my photography and stuff like that, definitely you can head over to my Instagram, which is Tugs, TUGS_Ward, and my TikTok is also the same. So yeah, either one of them platforms. On my TikTok, it's more of my stupid personality making some jokes, and a lot of beautiful videos of Croatia as well. But over on my Instagram is where you'll find all of my photography and stuff like that. So yeah.
Awesome. Amazing. Make sure to go follow Tugs. And thanks so much for taking the time again, man. It was a great conversation.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I think when I try out the van life, I'm definitely going to hit you up. And
you have to hit me up when you try it for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. Thanks so much for taking the time, man. Hope you have a great day. Lots of success to you. Thanks for everybody listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.
The Uncle Gold Podcast.